The Sunrise Interview is sponsored by Elk Valley Casino, Crescent City.
Welcome back. Now, starting this Thursday, downtown Ashland will be the home of experimental theater featuring the works of Samuel Beckett. Joining us to tell us what's happening this morning is festival organizer and playwright Octavio Solis. Good morning, Octavio.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm wonderful.
Thank you for having me on, Emily.
Thank you for joining us. So what can people expect to see in downtown Ashland coming up here?
Oh, they get to see the Ashland Beckett Shorts Festival, which is running from October 24th through the 27th, Thursday through Saturday, starting at 7 p.m. We are bringing 6 of Samuel Beckett's experimental works to site-specific locations around Ashland and the campus of OSF.
So for those that don't know about Samuel Beckett, what can you tell us about him?
Well, he's an Irish playwright, a Nobel Prize-winning playwright who famously wrote Waiting for Godot, which has been performed around the world. He has a large body of work, both literary and dramatic, and has something like 40 to 50 short plays that I resolved to produce. But he's like the granddaddy of all avant-garde theater, and I just think he's not done enough. And I resolved to bring some of his work here to the Rogue Valley, works that have never been seen here before.
So what is experiences of his works like to you?
Pardon?
What is experiencing his works like to you?
Oh, wow. It really connected me to, the pandemic connected me to his work. I read his novels, and I found my way in that way to Samuel Beckett, and I started to understand more about his work, the isolation, the anxiety, and ultimately the hope that is still at the heart of his work. So I resolved to gather a community of artists and bring these works out to the community. Yeah.
So what inspired you to put together a festival like this?
It was the pandemic. The pandemic is what brought it. And also this desire to bring experimental avant-garde works to the Rogue Valley. We have a theater-trained audience here that is built in, that already loves the works of Shakespeare and other playwrights, but I really resolved to kind of stretch that envelope a little wider and introduce them to more experimental works.
So what are you most looking forward to with this festival?
I'm looking forward to the works because I commissioned these artists to do them, and they're working on these plays on their own. I'm directing 2 of the works, Not I and Rockabye. But the funnest thing about this is that the audience is going to be walking from production to production over site-specific areas around the campus of OSF and Ashland, Oregon. So sometimes they may be going to a marquee window on the side of the Thomas Theater where somebody will be behind glass. Sometimes they may be down at this co-op performance space called Beat Farm, which is underneath the liquor store just down the street. Other times it may be in a rehearsal hall at the Hayes Rehearsal Center. So people are going to perambulate from production to production and kind of taking a walk through the mind of Samuel Beckett and his oeuvre, so to speak, because these works cover his entire career from the 60s, the early 60s, all the way to the late 80s. So they're going to see a lot of those works. But also the artists, the festival artists that we're bringing here are fantastic. I'm bringing Amanda Moody, from the Bay Area, who's a wonderful and is going to be performing Not I. I'm bringing a chamber orchestra called Quartet Nouveau from San Diego, who are going to perform to a famous prose piece of Beckett's called Imagination, Dead Imagine. Puppeteers for Fears, a local performance troupe here, will be performing What Where. I have Universes composed of Stephen Sapp and Mildred Ruiz Sapp, who have also worked at OSF, who are going to be performing Krapp's Last Tape. And Dee Maskey, one of our legacy actors of the OSF, who's performed for decades there, will be acting in Rockabye. So, and then finally, Jackie Apodaca, who heads the SOU Theater Department, will be directing a piece called Act Without Words with 2 of the finest movement artists in the region, actually in the world, James Donlan and Alina Sinal.
Wow, Octavio, that sounds so exciting. Thank you for sharing this with the community on these non-traditional stages.
Yeah, oh, it's my pleasure. People can get their tickets by going to our website, ashlandbeckettshorts.com, and they can see the program there, including all the artists. bios on Beckett and all the festival artists, including myself, since I'm directing a piece. This is my first time producing this, so I'm very, very thrilled. I want people to understand that this is going to be a scintillating, but an immersive, fun theatrical experience that they're just gonna, that they won't forget. And this is it, 4 days. This is the only time this festival is going to be done so far. We'll talk about next year when next year comes, but if they miss it Sunday, Thursday through Sunday, it's gone.
Hey, you took the words right out of my mouth. The Ashland Beckett Shorts kicks off this Thursday in downtown Ashland and runs through Sunday. It's Beckett as Beckett intended, exploring the boundaries of what defines a performance. Be prepared to move. In fact, you can expect about a half mile of walking during each performance. For tickets and more information, visit ashlandbeckettshorts.com. Octavio, thank you so much for sharing with us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Emily. Thank you for having me on.
Of course, we'll be right back.
Okay.